Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country on MKOCRadio.com. I'm very happy to have this lady with me tonight. She is a great part of our country music history. She's got a lot of fantastic stories to tell. She had so many great records back on the Hickory, Mercury, Decca, and Stop labels in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And I'll tell you what, she has just got a fabulous career, and she's here with us tonight to talk about it. Please welcome Margie Bose to My Kind of Country. Margie, how are you tonight?
I'm great, Scott, and thank you for such a good welcome. That was really great.
I am very happy to have you on the show. It's a pleasure to talk with you.
My pleasure, and it's really, really a good pleasure to be talking to you, and I appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I want to thank Margie Singleton right away. She was responsible for getting us in touch together, and I sure do appreciate that.
Oh, how I love her.
Me too.
She and I recorded together something on Mercury, you know.
You did. I'm going to have to track that down. I wasn't aware of that.
Margie didn't tell you that, huh?
Well, she was holding out on me. I'm going to have to find that. What was the song?
One song called I'll Come Running Back to You on Mercury.
Well, by gosh, I'm going to have to track that down.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Well with it, yeah.
Well, Margie, you had the distinct pleasure of being on the Pet Milk Talent Search, and that's kind of what got your career going in country music. Tell me a little bit about how that all happened.
You know what? I was, pardon me, I was only 17 years old back in Roxborough, North Carolina, where I was born and raised. And they started a Pet Milk Grand Ole Opry talent contest in Danville, Virginia. And I think you had to win in Danville in order to go to the next level, which was Roanoke, Virginia, and then to Nashville, Tennessee. And so I entered the contest, and I was scared to death, just being 17 years old,
Yeah.
And so I won in there, and won in Danville. And, of course, I was from Roxborough, so I was very familiar with doing those two stations, and because I did them pretty often, And then so I came to Nashville, and boy, was I scared, And I won the first Grand Ole Opry Pet Milk Talent Contest on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry on a Saturday night. What was it? I think June or something like that, in 1971, I believe it was.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. How did your recording contracts begin?
It started right after that. I got my first recording contract with Hickory Records right after I won that talent contest.
Well, that's
with
great.
Wesley Rose and Dee Kilpatrick. Dee was he was the guy that ran the Grand Ole Opry at that time.
Okay.
So they invited me to come down and practice and see if Wesley Rose would record me on on Hickory, and he liked me right away, so I got a record contract out of that.
Well, that's great. Well, your first record was released in 1958. It was called One Broken Heart. What a wonderful song.
a Ray Price song.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I love that song. Absolutely. One of my favorites. And another one that came out shortly after that, that's also another one of my favorites, is called Day After Day.
Yeah.
That
was a great song, too, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, too. So you had a few great records on Hickory, and, of course, a top 10 record in 1959 that kind of became your signature song, Poor Old Heartsick Me.
Yes. I was trying to I'm trying to think who wrote that. Does it? Do you know? I can't remember now.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll have to look that up. You've given
I
me some.
think it might have been Boudleaux and Felice Mine. I'm not sure.
You might be right. You've given me some good things to look up today. I've got to find. I'll find that. I got to find the song with you and Margie Singleton too. What was the name of that again?
I'll come running back to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to find that.
Yeah. That would be good. Yeah, it was a pretty good record.
Absolutely. It has to be with you guys on it, you know.
Well, I love Margie. She can really sing.
Yes, she can. Yes, she can. It still sounds great too.
Yes, she does. Yes.
Well, you had moved on to Mercury Records, as we just talked about after that, and you had some other great songs on that label, including Little Miss Belonged to No One. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Little Miss Belonged to No One. I believe that was written by Felice Bryant and her husband, Boudleaux and Felice Bryant. I believe it was. I tell you, the years pass by, and you can't just remember every little thing. But if I got my thinking cap on and went through my file, like a little bit, I could tell you, right away. But I believe they wrote that, and it was a great song.
Well, another one that was in the top 20 in 1959 was called My Love and Little Me, and that was written by Phil Everly of the Everly Brothers.
Yes, it was. But believe it or not, I was dating Phil at the time, and he brought me that song, and he said, "Now you have to record this." And so I took it to Owen Bradley, and he liked it good, And so I said, "Well, okay, let's do it." So we did.
Wow.
So it tickles Phil,
Absolutely. That's really cool. Well, in 1961, you got married to Doyle Wilburn of the Wilburn Brothers. Tell me how you guys got together.
Well, I worked a lot of shows with Roy Acuff. Yeah, he did much like the guy that did so many shows that booked a lot of artists on them,
Yeah, package shows.
Who was it on the television show that booked a lot of what was it, Bob somebody, and that Roy Acuff followed him and booked a lot of talent on shows like he did. Anyway, Roy booked. He booked the Everly Brothers, the Wilburn Brothers, Margie, Bose, and a lot of other artists on shows all across the country. And Doyle and Teddy worked those shows, and I did too, And I don't know. Doyle always, wanted to talk to me a lot. We got to know each other pretty good, And we got back to Nashville, and Doyle called me a lot, And I worked at their television show a lot. They had a television show called the Wilburn Brothers Show.
Yeah.
They had it for 13 years. And so anyway, Doyle would call me after the show a lot, and we talked, and we started dating a little. Anyway, we kind of talked a lot, real lot, and we got married, and we had been married about 4 or 5 years, and had a little baby girl named Sharon Renee. And boy, she could sing. I wish that she had carried a career on, but she decided not to, and she wanted to do other things. So anyway, she was a really good little singer, and Doyle and I were proud of her. And so Doyle Wilburn of the Wilburn Brothers was who I was married to.
Wow, and of course they worked a lot with Loretta Lynn too. Did you have a chance to work with her some?
Oh yes. They had Loretta on their television show, and which I was proud of that. Loretta was she was doing more country than I was. I was booking a lot of pop and country. So she said she had rather work country, and be on the show with Doyle and Teddy, which was fine, and I did it too, of course. So anyway, Loretta did it for a long time, for the longevity of the show, really. And I just did it off and on when I was in town, you know.
Yeah.
So and they had a big show, you know. Loretta loved it. The Wilburn brothers loved it, so I was proud of it too.
Oh, that's great. Well, I assume that you probably were signed to Decca Records because of the Wilburn brothers.
Well, kind of, sort of. Dole might have spoken up for me, but it was already was in the making there for a while before Dole talked to Owen Bradley, I think. But anyway, nevertheless, whoever got me there, I'm proud, you know. Owen Bradley was a great producer, and I loved him dearly. And I had the great musicians, you know. It was great. I loved those years that I was with Decca.
What was it like working with Owen Bradley in the studio?
Wonderful. He was wonderful. He was just great. He would tell you when he thought he was, you know, you need to do it this way instead. Take it a little, not so much country, but be country. Now, you know, he was great. Now, he loved country music. He did, you know, but he also wanted you to do, if he was looking for something a little pop, he'd tell you that too, you know. So, you know, he recorded Brenda Lee, and she loved to do pop, and she loved to do country also. So you can understand what I'm saying there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He liked pop and country.
Well, Owen Bradley was kind of an innovator of the Nashville sound, and he was somewhat responsible for bringing in the strings and that sort of thing into that. And at that time, I think that was groundbreaking for country music, right?
Yes, it was, and he was big there, you know.
Oh yeah.
He was great in country and pop.
And of course, he produced all of Patsy Cline's wonderful records, and
absolutely.
You guys were label mates. Did you work some together? Did you get to know her?
Oh yes, yes, I did. I knew her well, personally and work-wise. Yes.
Is there a Patsy Cline story that comes to your mind that you could share with us?
Well, Patsy and I worked together 2 nights before she had that horrible accident, you know, and it was sad, you know, because I had been to her house the week before too, and for dinner, you know, she had a big dinner, and she was a nice lady. I loved her. Everybody loved her. You couldn't help but love her. She had a great personality, you know. And she talked about everything. Everybody, I might say, you know. But anyway, she was she loved to sing, you know, and I loved her. I loved to hear her sing too.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't help but love her singing.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So anyway, I know the morning when she died, Dole and I were asleep, and I woke up earlier than him, and I went in and turned the TV on, and it was news was strictly about Patsy Cline, you know. So I ran in and got Dole. No, we both cried. We just cried. Sat there and watched that, and we got dressed and went downtown. You know, met with a lot of other artists, you know. It was sad.
Yeah, that was a big loss to country music. Not only Patsy, but Hawkshaw Hawkins and Cowboy Copas and Randy Hughes.
Oh yeah.
That was something else. And then not too long.
Oh yeah, it was too much for us all.
Yeah, and not too long after that, Jim Reeves was killed in a plane crash. It wasn't a good time to be flying, I guess, at that time.
Yes, and you know I can't believe how narrow I was escaped all of that, because you know I've worked with all these people, and they all let me fly with them all the time, you know, and they'd always say, and some of them didn't let a lot of people fly with them, But they always would say, Marge, we let you fly with us. Come on. We let you ride with us. We don't have to ride by yourself or go somewhere by yourself. Come on with us.
Yeah.
And I thought that was wonderful of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I thought after all these things happened, I thought, Lord, you sure did let me escape a lot of things, and I mean, it could have been me out there just as easily as anybody else,
Absolutely.
And oh my, it was, I couldn't get over it. And it was, you think over how many times you was on a plane or in the car or the bus with these people,
Yeah.
You think how lucky you were.
Absolutely. I remember Billy Walker was telling me when I talked to him one time that he was supposed to have been on the plane, and Hawkshaw Hawkins needed to get back to Nashville, and so he gave up his seat on the plane so that Hawk could get back to Nashville.
Oh man!
And otherwise, it would have been Billy Walker in that plane.
Well, I should have been. I should have been with Patsy too. So, Doro, he just grabbed me. He said, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it."
Man.
So
That's
so
amazing.
there's a lot of lots of things have happened.
Yeah. Well, you had some great music on Decca. You had a couple albums, Margie Sings and Today's Country Sound, and a great song from 1964 that has always been one of my favorites. And Bill Anderson wrote this song. It's called "You Can Be Replaced."
Oh yes, what a great song. That was a great song, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Great country song. It's one of my very favorites, and that's one I want to play here in a little while. And there, on the flip side of that, was back in those days, a lot of artists would have a hit out, and then somebody would record what they called an answer song to it.
Right.
And Johnny Cash had "Understand Your Man," and you came out with "Understand Your Gal."
Let me tell you a story about that. I think this is a good story. Johnny Cash. I was in the hospital. I had a little cervical cancer at the time, and Johnny come up at the door in Teddy's office and looking for me, and he says they told him I was over in the hospital, but that I'd be okay and that I'd be getting out pretty soon, in a day now, and so he said, well, I'm going to go see her. Where is she? And so they told him, and he came up to the hospital, and he said, get out of that bed. You have to go home. I've got a hit song for you. I said, well, I have to get up and go home then, don't I? So anyway, I went home a day or so, and he said, when you get in your house, you call me. So I did. And he said, okay, I'm coming by. I'm going to play this first hand for you. So he said, have you heard "Understand Your Man"? I said, yes. He said, well, I'm going to play it for you again. So he played it for me again, and he played that, and then he said, now here is the answer to "Understand Your Man." I wrote that, "Understand Your Man," and now I wrote this for you. It was specially for you. Nobody but you can sing this song.
No kidding.
So that's what he did. He sung "Understand Your Gal," and he said, nobody but your voice can do this one. And he played it for me. And I said, well, Johnny, that is a great song. And he said, well, when do you record? I said, well, how about let's just call and get it set up. So I did. Called Owen Bradley and told him, I said, well, give me a couple of days to recoup here, and I'll be ready. You set it up, and by then I'll be ready. 2 or 3 days. He said, well, let's make sure you're good and strong. I said, well, do it at least by the 3rd or 4th day, okay? I said, all right. And we did that. That's what we did. That's how it got recorded.
Wow, that's a really cool story. I didn't know that.
Isn't that
That's
a cool
neat.
story?
Yeah, it
That's
is.
a cool story, isn't it?
Wow.
And Johnny just absolutely loved it.
That's something else.
He played it the first time, I think, on WSM, and then played his. He went up there himself.
Oh, wow. That's
Isn't that
amazing.
cool?
That's really neat.
I think so.
Absolutely.
He he just loved me to death, and he always loved me. He and June always loved me a lot, and I always, of course, loved them.
They were wonderful people. A couple weeks
They
ago,
were.
I had their son, John Carter Cash, was on my show, and what a nice man he is, and a very, very
Yes, he
knowledgeable
is.
and involved in so many facets of the music business. And it was a very interesting conversation. I was really impressed with talking with him.
Yeah, I don't know him very well. I was mostly with Johnny and June, and he always, when I knew him, he was a youngster.
Oh yeah,
Didn't,
yeah.
didn't have a lot of conversations with him, but always he was so sweet. So young and sweet.
Yeah,
When I knew
absolutely.
him.
Well, I know Ernest Tubb was also on Decca Records, and I'm sure you probably worked with him some too. He was another.
Oh yes, he was a sweet, great man. Everybody loved him.
He was responsible for helping an awful lot of artists get into country music, including Jack Green and Cal Smith.
Oh yes.
He was just such a nice man, and one of the best in the business.
And Doyle and Teddy, he loved Doyle and Teddy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they did his record shop for him all the time when he was out of town. When they were in town, they'd work the record shop, Ernest Tubb record shop.
Oh, that's great.
And I did too when I was in town.
That is one of my favorite places to go to when I go to Nashville. It's a must stop for me every time.
Yeah, oh yeah. Ernest Tubb was wonderful.
He sure was. Well, you were a member of the Grand Ole Opry for some years. Do you remember the first time, besides the Pet Milk talent show, do you remember the first time that you performed on the Opry after you had your recording career?
Oh, sure. I've recorded. I've forgotten now what song I did. I imagine it was the first song I recorded. I'm sure it was. I recorded. I like to record whatever I had going. Whatever I had recorded, and some hit one of my friends had always done, or some song that I had recorded that somebody had written, some big artist, like Harlan Howard or Jack Green or somebody, Bill Anderson, one of their big smash hits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'd do
absolutely.
one of theirs and mine, So I always got a big hand because they loved their songs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, I had great years on the Grand Ole Opry.
And of course that was
Really
at
great years.
the Ryman Auditorium before they built the new Opry, and
Right.
to me, I think that was the place, and I think it still is the place. There's so much history there, and it's just the coolest thing to walk into that building and just
Yes.
feel it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I can't believe it. I spent years and years there, and I loved every second of it.
Well, it always looked to me, I mean, and it wasn't that big of a place. It always looked to me like everybody was kind of crowded in the backstage area. Was it kind of chaotic back behind the scenes?
Well, it was, people enjoyed people, back there, and, it was nice. People getting to talk to each other. And it's like when I see Loretta, when I see somebody, when I'd see them, it was always glad, heyday, and Lolly Parton, she'd come in with, whoever was coming in,
Yeah.
But it didn't have to be some big star. It was always somebody loving somebody,
Oh, that's great.
And it's great, yeah. Or a big disc jockey come in, and we recognize them. They recognize us. We'd all love each other. It was always good time.
Well, I still see that camaraderie even today with the artists of your generation that are still with us. Whenever I'm in Nashville, they all seem to come and support each other. Like we're talking about Margie Singleton and Jan Howard and Leona Williams.
Oh, yes.
and it's just amazing to me that they all, they get out and see each other, and it's just really neat to just kind of sit back and listen to the stories.
Oh yeah, it never changes. We all love each other, and when you come around, we all love you, don't we?
That is for sure. I feel very welcome every time I'm down there, and I certainly hope the next time I get down, I can come and see you. I'd love to meet you in
Well,
person.
you do that. No, you just have to come to see me because I had that car accident, and I don't always come as often as I used to.
Well, I'll have to get Margie, and we'll just come down and visit you. How's that?
Absolutely. That would be a wonderful visit.
I would love that. Well,
you call Miss Margie. She knows where I live.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Well, in the early 70s, you were with Stop Records, which was Pete Drake's record label. And there was another great song on there, That's More Than You Can Say. Remember that one?
Oh, that was a good song, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Wow. I'm lucky. I've had some great songs, haven't I?
You have. You had a lot of great songs. And
I know it. I just don't know how I got so blessed, but I was.
Well, that's wonderful. So, tell me a little bit more about more recent times for you. I know you had this just terrible car accident some years ago, and kind of catch me up on what happened after all those days of being on the Opry and everything with you.
Well, let's see. After I had the car accident, and that kept me from being on the Opry, because I tell you the truth, I sing from way down low. I can't sing from my up high. So like Loretta can sit down in a chair and sing. She sings from up in the breast, a deep breath from up there. I can't. I got to go down low, way down low, to get my deep breath, and I have to sing. And when I sing, I sing way deep, and I have to stand up. And when I stand up, of course, now it makes me want to fall backwards because I can't keep a good balance since I had the car accident. So I'm trying real hard to practice standing up straight, but it's very hard right now. But Loretta, she can sit in that chair, buddy, and she can whale it out.
Yes, she can.
Yes, she can. I appreciate her, but I really do. But it's very hard for me, But I'm working on it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll get back up there and whale one.
Oh, I sure hope so.
But right now I can't do it, And but I appreciate her so much,
You bet.
And anyway, there are a lot of artists that are still there and I love and appreciate every one of them. And I appreciate Loretta, all the girl singers, everybody that does it, and maybe someday I might get up there and do one more.
Well, I sure hope so. And you are certainly included in all those wonderful female singers from over the years, and you had so many great songs. And you were a pioneer. It was you came into a world of music that was primarily dominated by men. And I'll tell you what, there were a lot of great female artists, including yourself, that just came right up the middle and just blew everybody away.
Well, I appreciate. I have a lot of people that tell me that. And I really appreciate that because, it really wasn't many girl singers, but I think about Connie Smith, Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, oh gosh, help me out. Who else?
Kitty Wells.
Kitty Wells, Lord, Kitty Wells.
It's
just so many of us, and people, all the disc junkies, they keep thanking me for it. I said, you know what? I don't deserve all this credit like this, but I appreciate you. Appreciate you saying so, and I appreciate you thanking me and loving me, and I appreciate you playing my records. I really do, and I got a lot of friends, and they've been good to me. And the men, the gentlemen, all the men in this business have thanked me so much, and that means a lot to me. They welcome me and they appreciate me.
Oh, that's
And
well
you know,
deserved.
and when I was singing, they all invited me to be on their TV shows or be on their shows, and that, you know, what a way to have a career, you know, when they're for you, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you know.
Well, we play a lot of your music on our show, and of course, we're going to play a lot of it after this interview. And there is some great video on YouTube for some of the folks that are online. Check out YouTube. There's some great footage of you, a beautiful version of Send Me the Pillow That You Dream On with the Wilburn Brothers that you guys did.
Oh, cool.
And
I watched that the other day.
oh, it's
Pretty
beautiful.
cool, isn't it?
Love that song. And you were in a couple movies too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Wait just a minute. What was it? Wait a minute. What were they?
There was one called Golden Guitar, and then there was one
Golden
called
Guitar.
Cotton Pickin' Chicken Pickers.
Cotton picking chicken pickers. I believe it was in another one called, let's see, Nashville Now, and something else, one other one.
There was from
Can't remember it now.
Nashville with Music, I think might have been the other one.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, they were cool. I thought they were cool. It was fun making them anyway. And I loved especially cotton picking chicken pickers, because my mind sticks out about that one is, you know, Mel Tillis was in it. And Mel, he just, you know how he stutters, and he just stuttered so much in that movie. And I mean, I laughed till I cried all the way through it. We all laughed at him, you know. He was so cute, and he just stuttered. Mel was so funny anyway.
Oh, that's
And
great.
anyway, we all had a good time making that movie. So I'll never forget that one.
What wonderful memories. You should write a book. You got so many great memories.
Well, would you believe it or not? I got one started.
Oh, good. Well, you keep me
Yeah.
posted, and when you get it done, we'll have you back on the show if you would be willing to do it, and we'll do a feature on it. I think that'd be great.
I'll do it. I promise.
Oh,
I promise
awesome.
I will do it.
I appreciate that. Well, Margie, I just can't thank you enough. I've really enjoyed visiting with you, and thank you so much for all the wonderful music, and we're going to play a bunch of it for our listeners right now. And there are some nice country collections on Amazon.com. If you want to get some of Margie's music, it's there. And there's lots of great YouTube things, as we mentioned, and of course you're going to hear all sorts of great Margie Bose songs here on My Kind of Country. Margie, thank you so much for being on my show. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Scott, I really appreciate you. Appreciate you taking time to care about my music, and I want to thank you and all of your fans for listening to me. And if ever I can do anything for you, you give me a call. And if you're in Nashville, please call me.
Oh, I definitely will. Looking forward to that. Well, God bless you. Thank you so much, Margie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, darling. God bless you.
All right, here is some wonderful
Thank you.
music from Margie Bose as we continue with My Kind of Country right here on MKOCRadio.com.
I know that tonight, when we leave each other, I'll go into the arms of my lover. I know it's wrong to cheat on you this way, but I've only got one lover, and that's still more than you can say. You've been in the arms of almost every girl in town. The only ones you've missed have been the ones that turned you down. If you hadn't cheated first, I wouldn't be cheating today. Oh, I've only got one lover, and that's still more than you can say. and that's still more than you can say. You've been in the arms of almost every girl in town. The only ones you've missed have been the ones that turned you down. Oh, I'm as guilty as you, 'cause I cheat every day. But it's only with one lover, and that's still more than you can say.
I sit all by myself. You've called it quits. I've tried the shoe on, and baby, it fits. Now I'm little Miss Belong to no one. I count the hours, I sit and yearn. I count the bridges that I can't burn. You bet your life, baby, till you return. I'll be little Miss Belong to no one. I turned your picture face to the wall, but they don't help me, no, not at all. Nowhere I go, nothing I do can ease this longing that I feel for you. I count the hours, I sit and yearn. I count the bridges that I can't burn. You bet your life, baby, till you return. I'll be little Miss Belong to no one. Whoa, whoa, little Miss Belong to no one.
Change your mind and stay instead. Go crying to your kinfolks, I don't care what you tell them. I'll keep my mouth shut like you said. I told you many times before if you'd like to go. Nobody's got no roadblock set up here, you know. Hope you got a little something for your morale. Understand your gal, I ain't no vegetable. Understand your gal. later on. I won't waste away and die like you believe will happen. I'll be wearing out the telephone. Now fly away like yesterday when you think you should. If you inquire, you'll find that I'm doing mighty good, living on the upper crust and acting as I shall. Understand your gal, call that bad mouthing now. Understand your gal, I ain't gonna be crying. Understand your gal, I'm gonna be here laughing. Understand. You can be replaced by loneliness, by sleepless nights, and all the rest. I'll miss you so, but nonetheless, you can be replaced by loneliness. Somebody new is loving you, and you're gonna go with her. I know you won't see tears running down my face. Go on with her. You can be replaced. You can be replaced by loneliness, by sleepless nights, and all the rest. I'll miss you so, but nonetheless, you can be replaced by loneliness.
Put my love in a dungeon with walls on all sides, without food and water, and leave him there to die. But he needn't worry, for I would set him free. For what wall could stand between my love and little me, my love and little me? Put my love on an island in the ocean deep and wide. Without any shelter, he'd face the raging tide. But he needn't worry, for I would set him free. For an ocean couldn't stand between my love and little me, my love and little me. Put my love on a mountain top that stands so high and low. Without a fire to keep him warm, he'd face the chilling cold. But he needn't worry, for I would set him free. For a mountain couldn't stand between my love and little me, my love and little me. Put my love on an island in the ocean deep and wide. Without raging tide. But he needn't worry, for I would set him free. For an ocean couldn't stand between my love and little me. My love and little me. My love and little me.
Poor old heartsick man.